Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's well this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Afternoon, everyone. Let's see. I don't see the jail on yet, so as soon as the jail comes on, I think that we will be ready to go. We have quite a few people on the calendar today, so we'll be as efficient as possible. No? Thank you. That's a good idea, Ms. Kim. What position is that?
It is position 24, Your Honor.
All right, apparently position 24, Stephen Sotelo. There's a waiver. Okay, we have courtroom 2 here. Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Are we ready, courtroom 2? Courtroom 2, are we ready?
Good afternoon, Judge. You have a seat right here, Ms. Wilder.
Good afternoon. Who do we have first?
This is gonna be Ms. Wilder. I believe she's position number,
26?
yes, that's correct, 26, Judge.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Wilder. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. Mr. Wilder, you've been charged in case 22 CR 005371J with theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
18 total. Last arrest was back in June for trespass. On probation, criminal trespass, and felony obstruction. It's 21 SC 179560. She got probation violations from 2020, 2020 shoplifting, 2020 felony obstruction, and simple battery. Simple battery was a conviction. Another 2020 probation, 2019 probation, 2019 FTA for trespass and disorderly conduct. You want more?
You're good. Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. King.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This case occurred on August 13th. Officers responded to a dispute with weapon call at 2095 Campbellton Road Southwest. Upon arriving on scene, they met with the victim of this case, Mr. Vida Jones, V-I-D-A, last name traditional spelling. And they saw the victim in this case aggressively holding a bat and walking towards the defendant in this case, Jamisha Wilder. At that point, the officers drew their tasers and asked the victim in this case to put the bat down, which he did. And they actually handcuffed the victim in this case while they were conducting their investigation. When they spoke with him, he stated that he was sleeping in his vehicle at the intersection of Delowe and Campbellton when the defendant came and snatched his phone and walked away. That is where the altercation took place. The defendant actually threw the phone into a bush, which they were able to get back possession of and get it back to the victim. The recent convictions that absolutely disturb the state, especially one being a criminal trespass and obstruction. The defendant is on probation right now for these charges that is concerning that she's not following the law, she's not listening to the orders of the court. For that reason, the state is requesting a $2,500 surety, no further contact with Mr. Vita Jones, a stay away from 2095 Campbellton Road Southwest, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. We have no objection to those bond conditions, except that we would like to request for signature on bond or maximum $1,000 surety bond remains. There is already a bond set up for $1,000. She is 33 years old and she has been here in Georgia for the last 33 years. She has three young children who are all under 18 years old, and she does not have any employment. And her high school, she dropped out at 9th grade. So at this point, she is also residentially challenged. So we would like to request for social worker services to visit and provide some assistant residential housing resources. And she has no financial means to pay for any of the bond. So having any kind of bond means no bond to her ultimately. So we would like to request for signature on bond. If Your Honor is not inclined to give her a signature on bond, since she is under probation, the maximum amount we would like to request is $1,000 surety bond.
All right, it's going to be a $500 good bond. No further contact with Mr. Jones. Stay away from the 2095 Campbellton Road address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, and she's to have a social worker visit. The state all-purpose calendar that everyone on this calendar will be placed on will be the August 30th calendar, if they do not get out of custody by that time. All right, good luck to you, Ms. Wilder.
I'm gonna signature bar.
Say it again?
No signature bar.
No, ma'am, it's a $500 good bond, surety bond.
Have a seat over there. Position 20, Reed. Come on, Ms. Reed.
Good afternoon, Ms. Reed. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005377A with theft of service. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
So she got 2 cycles on her history. First one says June 7th, 2022, theft of services, 2 counts out of College Park. But that case number is the same as this cycle, so I'm not sure if this is her first or second arrest. All right. Stay.
Ms. Reed, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to see you again.
Who also?
Thank you. Your Honor, this is regarding an offense that took place June 7th, 2022 at a mellow mushroom located at 1477 Virginia Avenue, College Park. Defendant's being charged with theft of services, and the state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond. The facts on this case, the law enforcement, they were dispatched to the scene because defendant ordered food and drinks in the amount of $90.22, but did not have the funds to pay. The defendant's debit card was declined, and she was not able to make the payment on the bill. The assistant store manager, Mark Williams, said the defendant had been doing this for a matter of weeks. The time before was 2 weeks prior to this June 7th date. And that incident, she ordered $60 worth of food and left without paying. Defendant does have a record out of South Carolina. And the state is concerned that she does not have strong ties to the community here in Fulton County. So for that reason, we are asking for a $2,500 surety bond to stay away from the incident location and no drugs and alcohol or weapons while out on bond. Thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the mellow mushroom at 1477 Virginia Avenue. No drugs, alcoholic weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Reed, if you go back to that mellow mushroom, you're not going, and you get arrested again, you're not gonna get a signature bond next time, you understand?
The judge is talking to you.
You can't go back to that mellow mushroom, you understand? Ms. Reed?
I never went back.
Okay, I'm just saying, don't go to the mellow mushroom at 1477 Virginia Avenue, ma'am. Who do we have next?
It's through the jail, Judge?
It's through the jail, yes.
Okay, thank you. Next is position 7. Yeah, you have a signature on. Oh, I would like a signature. Put your mask on for me. This is position 7. She's actually pro se, Judge.
Okay, good afternoon, Ms. Christopherson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Mask on.
I'm sorry, yes. I'm Karen of the Christopherson family.
Put your mask on, ma'am.
You agree to have your case heard by video, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 22 CR 005389E with harassing communications. You have a right to have counsel present at these proceedings. You have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say can and will be used against you. Ms. Christopherson, it's my understanding that we provided you with the assistance of a public defender today, and you are declining the assistance of a public defender. Is that correct?
There was a misunderstanding. I would like to be pro se in divine personam. If I was going to be pro se, that would be before jurisdiction was established. But now that we're here where we are, I would love an OR bond because I never telephoned anyone.
Okay, hold on, Ms. Christopherson. Again, you have a right to remain silent. My question to you is, you have been provided the opportunity to have a public defender today. It is my understanding that you have declined a public defender's assistance. Would you like to proceed pro se, or would you like to speak with a public defender regarding these harassing communication calls alleged?
I will trust you and I will go forward.
Okay, is there a history, Mr. Howard?
It's a 5th arrest. Last arrest was back in April. Felony terrorist threats out of Habersham County. Appears to be open. Before that was March, Habersham County. Misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Crossing state county guard lines with drugs or weapons.
No.
Got a misdemeanor theft by taking from March 1st. 2011 simple battery DV. Cruelty in the third disorderly conduct. Those are dismissed.
I don't know anything about those.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Johnson.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. May I be heard?
Yes, please.
The date of the offenses range from April 15th, 2022 and August 9th, 2022. The victim in this case is Mrs. Catherine Plaisance. Catherine, common spelling, last name Plaisance, Plaisance. Your Honor, Ms. Catherine was contacted the police department on June 23rd, 2022, informing them of harassing communications she and her husband have been receiving from the defendant. Beginning in April 15th, 2022, the defendant sent several forms of communication through emails and messages on social media platforms. One of the messages stated, "I am one cool bitch, okay? I have taken a lot of shit in my life. I will not tolerate this, and you are going to offer me something or it will get ugly." Another message states, "I am coming." Ms. Plaisance and her husband have asked the defendant to stop contacting them. The defendant continues to send texts, chats, emails, and attempts video calls. The defendant has sent at least 30 separate contacts that contain multiple messages and ramblings and has attempted to make at least 3 phone calls. The defendant has also sent multiple videos and photographs of herself. On June 27, 2022, Ms. Plaisance returned to the police department and informed officers that even asking the defendant to cease all communications, she sent an additional 20 Facebook messages. Ms. Plaisance spoke to the victim advocate and stated that she was a dental student and performed some work on the defendant 2 years ago. The defendant started contacting her, complaining about the dental work she received and began demanding free implants. Ms. Plaisance is on Zoom. She may like to be heard. Your Honor, for this case, given the allegations, we are asking for a $2,500 surety bond. no further contact with Ms. Pleasance or her family or her husband, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Your Honor, she does have an open, terroristic threats and acts that was mentioned by pretrial. She does have open bond conditions on that. Of course, one of them is no further violations of the law, Your Honor. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Place, since you are not required to speak at this hearing, I'm happy to give you the opportunity if there's something that you would like to add to what Ms. Johnson has informed the court of. If you would like the opportunity to address the court, I'll need to swear you in.
I would like the opportunity.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me, ma'am? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I just also wanted to add if she could refrain from contacting my place of employment as well.
Do you know Ms. Christopherson?
I've met her once before at the dental school 2 years ago.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Again, Ms. Christopherson, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, can be used against you. Is there anything that you would like to tell the court?
Okay, go ahead. Yes, sir, there actually is. Sitting here in this chair, I am now aware of who she is. All this time, I had no idea it was her that was bringing the charges against me. I thought this was in regards to property tax. What this is in regards to is whenever I went to the dental school to get dental implants for my teeth, this dentist right here, she actually pulled 4 teeth out of my mouth. She doctored the records. She doctored the records at Augusta Medical Dental School. And that's the reason why I started contacting her on Facebook, is because whenever I had 4 teeth taken out so that she could get a grade, and I did not get any implants whatsoever. And then she graduates after she doctors the records. It's not even showing that she took these 4 teeth out. And I sent her a video because I still have in my mouth currently part of the teeth that she doctored on the records and said she didn't even take out. She left 2 teeth in my back mouth. And so after she graduates and is a nice little happy dentist, I'm sitting here in massive pain. And I don't even get my money's worth from the dental school, and I'm holding her responsible. I never made any threats. I mean, I was being very nice, and then.
All right, you're going to have to find another way to do that, Ms. Christopherson, because you're not going to be able to have any type of contact whatsoever with Ms. Playance. Okay, you can't. No contact means absolutely no contact. It means no physical contact, no email contact, no social media contact, no contact whatsoever. If you have a discrepancy with something that's taken place as far as a business with her is concerned, you're going to have to take that up another way with possibly a lawyer or something. But you yourself are not going to have any contact whatsoever with Ms. Playance. You understand that?
I understand.
Okay, so it's going to be $1,000 good bond, no further contact whatsoever, whether it's at her home or her place of business. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Was there anything else, Ms. Johnson?
No, Your Honor, that's all.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am. You also, Ms. Plant.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain to you. Position 10, Fields. Come on, Mr. Fields.
Ms. Gant, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Fields. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005391C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Hines?
24 total. Last arrest was 2016 out of Houston, Texas. Assault causing bodily injury. That was dismissed. 2014. Burglary of a building. That was a conviction. He had a theft conviction. 2007. That was the one before that. And another burglary in 2006. He's a resident of Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Everything else is old. So.
Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor. This offense occurred on August 13th, 2022. The incident location is 210 Peachtree Street. That's the Weston, Your Honor. The victim in this case is Franchelle Leggett. Franchelle is Franchelle, last name Leggett, Leggett. Ms. Leggett advised officers that her and the defendant got into a verbal argument that turned physical around 2 a.m. She advised the defendant struck her in the head and ripped her clothes from her body. She attempted to hide under the desk, but the defendant continued to strike her, kicking her in the back. She stated that she was punched in the face, chest, and the back. She stopped and called 911. She left the room. After leaving the room and trying to ascertain her safety, she tracked the phone for the defendant, and it was shown that the defendant had driven to Birmingham, Alabama, where he then turned around and returned to the Weston. The officer spoke to the defendant, and he advised that he was in a physical dispute with Ms. Leggett and that it was self-defense. The defendant stated that it was a verbal dispute, but things took a turn when he called her, Your Honor, a bitch, and told her that she was leaving him, and told her that he was leaving her, Your Honor. The defendant stated that Ms. Leggett began attacking him with a razor and stated that he,
Go ahead, Ms. Johnson.
I apologize.
No, it's not your fault.
And the defendant stated that he wrestled Ms. Leggett and he got a cut on his left hand. He also stated that he punched her in an attempt to disarm her, and they continued to scuffle. Based on the visible injuries and the statements given, the officers had determined that the defendant was the primary aggressor. Victim advocates have spoken to Ms. Leggett in this case, Your Honor. She did inform the office that she is engaged to the defendant, and they live together in Texas. They shared no children. They were here in Atlanta on business at the Weston, and the incident location is the hotel, Your Honor. She has stated that this is not the first time that the defendant has hit her, and he has threatened her on several occasions. She also stated that he was beating her and threatening to kill her once she called police. She stated the defendant also stated that he was going to get someone to take care of her because of her contacting the police in this case, Your Honor. She is in fear and she wants no contact. She did state that she will be present on Zoom, so she may want to speak, Your Honor. For this case, and giving the allegations in this case and how serious they are, also given that the defendant is from Texas and probably will return, we are asking for a $2,500 cash bond, no further contact, no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, and 1-day anger awareness.
Thank you, Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Ulrich Fields is 46 years old. He is in fact a resident of Texas. And as the state mentioned, he was here at a business conference with the complaining witness, Ms. Franchelle Leggett. Mr. Fields informs me that he has a 4-month-old son. He also has other children that are living with him. He does not have anyone to help him with bond. At this time, he has a mother in Texas. She's elderly and she's recently diagnosed with some cancer, he tells me. Your Honor, we are, let me back up. Mr. Fields is a business owner. He informs me that for the past 2 years, he has been owner operator of 4 different businesses. He has 9 employees. He manages a multi-$1,000 payroll. His employees are depending on him to return so that he can actually pay these people so they can take care of their families. Some of the businesses that he owns, Your Honor, include a transportation center, a brokerage firm, an education firm, and also a cleaning service. My client denies the allegations, Your Honor. He offers a vastly different version. He tells me that he did not start anything with the complaining witness. He states that she, again, pulled a blade out on him. A struggle ensued as he was trying to get the blade from her because he had great concerns that she was about to injure him. He states that he told the police officers this. He states that he also gave them case numbers too, in fact, where she had assaulted him twice in Texas, and she has open cases that are pending. He has open cases that are pending against her. He does not want to have any contact with her at all. And this is basically someone who was here, business owner. I do acknowledge my client's, history, but I did not hear about any FTAs. I did not hear about any probation violations. In fact, his history is quite remote. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Fields' behalf. He doesn't have the means or has access to anyone who would be able to bond him out, Your Honor. He does not want any contact with Ms. Leggett, and we are unopposed to the other conditions, Your Honor. And if you determine that he's ineligible for a signature bond, I would ask for the lowest bond possible, as again, he has informed me that he does not have the means to, does not have the things in place to bond out of jail, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Ms. Leggett on the line? If Ms. Leggett is on the line, this is your opportunity to address the court if you desire to. I don't see Ms. Leggett on the line. It's going to be $1,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Leggett. Stay away from the Western at 210 Peachtree Street. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. And let me be clear, Mr. Phillips, what no contact means. No contact means no physical contact, no social media contact, no email contact, no contact whatsoever. You understand me, sir?
Mr. Fields, I advise you not to speak. If you have any concerns, I will give you a call.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you,
You
Your Honor.
also. Who do we have next?
Position 21, Mr. Rippey.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rippey. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005368F with driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
This second arrest, 2010 DUI conviction.
Okay, Ms. King.
Yes, Your Honor. On yesterday, at around 8 p.m., officers were dispatched to a traffic accident call. Upon arriving, they noticed scuff marks, car parts, and vehicle fluids on the road, and then they came upon the defendant's vehicle. He was standing outside of his vehicle when they approached, and he admitted that he had been in a traffic accident, which is why the officers responded. At that point, they smelled the alcohol coming from his person, and they noticed his eyes were bloodshot and watery. They asked him if he had been drinking, and he stated no. They asked him multiple times, and each time his answer was no. When they asked him about how the accident occurred, he kept changing his stories and was struggling to answer the officers' questions. And while officers were waiting for backup to come, they noticed the defendant was using his cell phone, and they saw him also drinking a bottle of mouthwash at that time as well. The officers also noted that he was incoherent and confused when speaking to him about what had happened and how the accident came. Backup arrived, and that's when the FSTs began. They started with the HGN, and there were multiple clues. He didn't actually put a number. It seems like it's 6 out of 6 because when he speaks about what he observed, it seems he failed every clue. And for HGN, it's 6 clues. For next, it was the walk and turn, and was 8 out of 8 clues for that one. And then when they wanted to do the one leg stand, it was 4 out of 4 clues for that one. They also noted that he was swaying while performing the FSTs. Based on what the officers observed, they took him under arrest for DUI less safe. Due to the defendant having a previous conviction, while it is outside of the 10 years, it is still concerning that the only charges stem from alcohol consumption. So while he has a $2,500 surety, the state is requesting a $5,000 surety, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and no driving as well.
Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Rippey is 60 years old, Your Honor, and he has been here in Georgia ever since 1987. He has his brothers here in Georgia, and he also has his own company called LSR Financial. He has been self-employed for the last 1 year after he retired from being a medical doctor at ER, emergency rooms, and he does not have any other conditions other than high blood pressure. we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if your honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because it is DUI case, we would like to request for $2,500 good bond remain as the same as it was already ordered previously. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to leave the bond where it is, $2,500 good bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Whitby.
Thank you.
It's $2,500.
Position 9, the Central.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dos Santos. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005394A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest. Last was 2010, possession of alcohol by a minor. No, hold on. I think it was possession for a minor. Yeah, possession by someone that's not of age. It was dismissed after PTI. And before that was 2010 misdemeanor possession of marijuana conviction, disorderly conduct. That's all.
Ms. Johnson?
Thank you, Your Honor. The date of offense is August 13th, 2022. The incident location is 7700 Roswell Road, Sandy Springs. The victim in this case, Your Honor, is Selena, spelling Sylena, last name Pauley, Pauley. Your Honor, officers were called to the incident location. Mrs. Pauley was wearing a t-shirt and underwear and was across the street from her residence. She informed police that her and the defendant had been drinking and partying at her house when the defendant got knocked out in a fight by another individual for the way that he was treating her. When the defendant woke up, he was enraged and began striking Miss Pauley multiple times in the face. Miss Pauley ran from the house in her t-shirt and her underwear. Her right eye was swollen and cut. There's bruising on the right side of her forehead and also bruising on her left arm. After speaking to her, I'm sorry, we did not speak to her. In the warrant of the application, I do apologize. In the warrant of the application, because of someone coming to her defense, we know it's not the first time that some kind of violence has occurred, and she was so afraid that she ran from the home in her undergarments. Your Honor, we do take these allegations quite seriously. We are asking for a $3,500 surety bond with no further contact, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Stay away from the incident location, and I will be asking for a one-day anger awareness. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 31 years old. He has lived in Atlanta for most of his life. He owns and operates his own business. He does have his mom, his dad, and his brother who live in the Metro Atlanta area. My client denies the allegations as stated by the prosecution. He said he had a get-together at his home, and there were about 40 people there, and people were drinking and so on. But I think he said some people got into fights, which he was trying to quash since it was his home. The defendant, the alleged victim, as far as to my knowledge, is not someone that he's in a relationship with at all. He was at his home. They don't live together. My understanding is that she's not a girlfriend. She's just someone who was there for this particular party. I would ask the court not to order a stay away, because that would be to ask that he stay away from his own home. And I would also ask that the court give him a signature bond, given that he does not have any history of violence at all, and any convictions were remote. Based upon that, Your Honor, I would definitely ask for signature bond and not to impose stay away conditions. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, one-day anger awareness class, no further contact with Ms. Pauley, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Given that you've represented to me, Ms. McLeod, that Ms. Pauley does not live at the Roswell Road address, he can go back to his address. But if Ms. Pauley is at that address, he necessarily can't be there. You understand? That would be to Mr. Dos Santos.
I couldn't hear nothing.
So you can't give, if Miss Pauley, you can't have any further contact with Miss Pauley, Mr. Dos Santos, okay? No contact means no contact whatsoever, okay?
Sounds good, sir. Thank you.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms.
Judge Morrow.
Yes, ma'am.
I do apologize for interrupting. Regarding position 10, Mr. Fields, I would ask, Your Honor, that you add a one-time law enforcement escort to the hotel in the event that he has any belongings there.
Okay, very good, Ms. Gant. You can go back to the Western on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. That's position number 10, Mr. Fields.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Next is position 5, Callaway.
Back up, Ms. Bridgewater. Good afternoon, Mr. Callaway. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005381F with giving false name or information to law enforcement officer on 2 counts. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
6 total. Last arrest was in May. Fleeing an officer. Driving without a valid license. Hit and run. April. Possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Misdemeanor possession of marijuana. 2011 hijacking a motor vehicle. 2011 misdemeanor obstruction conviction. 2009 burglary, theft by receiving. So that hit and run, that's out of Forsyth County. I meant the possession by a convicted felon. That's open.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Segura.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. In this case, it occurred on August 13th, 2022 at the incident location of 1113 Huff Road, Northwest Atlanta. In this case, also conducted a traffic stop because the defendant who was in the passenger seat and another individual who was driving a vehicle ran a stoplight. When the police confronted the defendant in the passenger seat, he gave the false name of Curtis Campbell. Curtis, common spelling, Campbell, C-A-M-P-B-E-L-L, with the birth date of July the 22nd, 1996, which is not the actual birth date or name of the defendant. At that point, it was admitted that the defendant made up deny because he does have outstanding warrants for armed robbery and aggravated assault of a weapon. The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 for each count, with the conditions of no alcohol, drugs, and weapons filed on bond. The main concern is that the defendant is a danger to the community if he is released. Back in April 18th, 2022, he was arrested for having transporting and carrying a firearm by a convicted felon. And a month later, on May the 25th, 2022, he was arrested for fleeing and eluding a police officer and a hit and run. And 2 days ago, when she was arrested for this case, I was later also found out that he is being charged with a July 17th, 2002 aggravated assault, which is an open case of 22 CP 211465, which he did have a hearing today. And because of his actions and considering he was arrested multiple times in the last couple of months, they're concerned he would be a danger to the community, and thus we're asking for a surety bond. Thank you.
He was in the passenger seat of a vehicle that ran a traffic light.
Yes.
Is that what you told me, Mr. Segura?
Yes.
And they questioned him regarding who he was?
Indeed.
For what reason?
And mostly because the vehicle was in, well, he was not wearing a seatbelt, and the whole vehicle smelled of marijuana. So they were just asking him about it, and he decided to besides this name, and mostly hold up the police for about 35 minutes or so until we actually gave his real name and date of birth.
They didn't charge him with not having a seatbelt on?
Yeah, they didn't in this case.
All right, it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each count, which is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Armstrong?
Well, Judge, it does, but I do need to note that the state already dismissed the obstruction charge, so I would ask that no bond be assigned to that since that's not on docket.
Okay. So I only have two charges that are on the docket, both of the false information, correct?
I received a dismissal for the obstruction. I'm happy to forward it to the court.
Okay, all right. Anything further? Ms.
No,
Hart?
Judge. No, Judge.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Callaway.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 19, Pitts.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pitts. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Pitts, you've been charged in case 22 CR 005386G with loitering and prowling, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Got first arrest.
Right. Mr. Segura?
This is actually a call list with position 6. So kind of address the facts are the same for both cases.
Okay, thank you.
In this case, a kid on August the 13th, 2022, at the call of Lindbergh, located at 741 Morrows Grove Drive, Northeast Atlanta. In this case, I also responded to a 911 call from a witness about people stealing items of vehicles. At that point, the witness saw the defendants, who were both from position 6 and this case, position 19, pulling on door handles of vehicles. In total, there were about 4 people, all wearing black clothing at around close to 10 p.m. And in this case, they're putting on vehicle door handles, in which one of the defendants was carrying a brick. When they're approached by the police, all the individuals ran, in which the defendant in position 19, in this case, was caught first, and the defendant in position 6 was caught later. In this case, the defendant found marijuana in his person, and then also caught other defendant in position 6. In this case, the defendant in this case who decided to remain silent, did not say anything, but the defendant in position 6 said that he and his friends came to the garage in this incident location looking for money. And he did admit that they were putting on several door call handles and trying to look inside the vehicles to get some money. And so because of this, even though this is the first arrest, these are egregious actions, wearing black clothing, tend to grab, admitting to one to take some money from vehicles, and one them carrying a brick at midnight. We are asking for a $3,500 surety bond, $2,000 for the loitering, $500 for the marijuana possession, and $1,000 for the obstruction of law enforcement officer. For the conditions of no alcohol, drugs, and weapons while on bond, and a stay away from the 741 Morrows Grove Drive, Northeast Atlanta location. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 17 years old. He is currently in the 11th grade at Frederick Douglass High School. He tells me that he was out with 2 of his classmates and they had gone to Home Depot because they were looking to buy an inner tube for his bike. He denies the allegations made by the prosecution, Your Honor. He said he was not engaged in any kind of illegal activity at all. He was just out with 2 of his classmates and they had gone to buy something. Your Honor, he has no criminal history at all. So I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond. I have had the opportunity to speak with his dad, and his dad is willing to sign on to his bond, given that he is only 17 years old. I was not able to get a hold of his mom because she was at work, but I did speak with Dad, Your Honor, and he is in school and plans to go back to school. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each count, which makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the incident location. He is to stay in school, and he is to also have a curfew from 6 a.m. To 9 p.m. So he's to be in by 9 p.m. And stay in until 6 a.m. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Pitts.
You said the total was 2,000, right?
It's 3,000. It's 1,000 for each charge.
I got a piece of it.
No, you don't have to pay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, yeah. Position 3 bids.
Do you happen to? I'm sorry. Do you happen to have Carr there?
Say the name again, Judge?
Is Carr position 6? That's the co-defendant in this case.
Yes, I do.
Can we do him just to get him, since we were, just to move him forward?
Okay,
Thank you.
you guys just stand. Just stand, yeah. You want to do it at the same time, correct, Judge?
No. Mr. Carr was the co-defendant with the last gentleman. So if we could just take Mr.
Okay,
Carr.
now, okay, you can have a seat, Judge.
Okay. So, good afternoon, Mr. Carr. You've been charged in case 22 CR 0053884Y with ordering and prowling, willful obstruction of the law enforcement, and willful obstruction of the law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Mr. Hyatt?
First arrest.
Do you have anything to add, Mr. Segura?
Just in this case, unlike the previous defendant, he actually admitted to attempting to open the door handles and looking for money inside of those vehicles. Thank you.
Have you spoken with his parents, Ms. Armstrong?
I have not, Judge, but we would contend that alleged admission was proffered during a Miranda moment. He should have been read Miranda and he wasn't. But we would ask that he receive the same benefit of a SOB as Mr. Pitts.
Okay, so it's going to be $1,000 SOB through the jail on each charge, which makes it a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Is he in school, Ms. Armstrong?
He is working towards his GED. He's actually in the 12th grade and he's almost done.
Okay, so he's continued to work on his GED, and he is also to have a curfew of 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
He can use that time to study.
Very good. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right. Mr. Carr, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Position 3 bids, come on, bids.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bibbs. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005380J with criminal trespass and loitering and prowling. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
11 total. Last arrest was in February for disorderly conduct and obstruction. That's open in state court. 22 CR 000-974J. It was a simple assault, DV with that. 2018 suspended license NOLO. 2017 probation. Underlying charges: ag assault with a deadly weapon, possession of a firearm during the commission. Came off a 2015 ag assault conviction. 2014 probation. 2014 probation and failure to appear. That's all.
Mr. Segura?
This case occurred yesterday, August the 14th, 2022, at Walmart, located at 1801 Howell Mill Road, Atlanta. In this case, the defendant was observed on a surveillance camera putting on multiple vehicle handles, and at some point decided to sit upon a white pickup truck, in which he asked the owner of that truck for spare keys. Once the owner said no, he somehow made the defendant go out of his way and left. At that point, security personnel named Amy White, Amy, common spelling, White, W-R-I-G-H-T, told the defendant to leave, in which he refused. At that point, the police came as well, in which they gave the defendant a verbal warning to leave, and still he refused. At that point, the defendant was arrested, and he attempted to refused to put his arms behind his back until at some point he was eventually handcuffed and arrested. The state recommends that the court retained his $4,000 surety bond, which is $2,000 for each count, with the conditions of no alcohol, drugs, and weapons while on bond, and stated from Walmart from that 1801 Howell Mill Road and answer location. The state's concern is that defendant will be a danger to the community because, as basically Charles noted, a real concern defendant will be a flight risk because in 2017, he does have a probation violation alongside probation violation 2014, and he also has an FTA from 2014. We're concerned he will not show up in court if he is released. And also, we are concerned that he will commit some type of crime when he is out on bond because he does have that. He has an open case from February the 22nd, 2022, which is disorderly conduct and a willful obstruction of law enforcement. 22 C on 000-974J, which he initially had a $2,000 surety bond, but on July 28th, it was reduced to a censure bond, and not even a month later on, he decided to commit this crime as well. So we are concerned that he will commit some sort of crime when he's out on bond, and that's why we're asking to retain that surety bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Armstrong, does he have a place to live?
No, he doesn't. He's homeless.
Okay,
I also asked Your Honor to ignore the proffer that he allegedly committed obstruction. He's not charged with obstruction.
okay, I'm gonna give him a signature on Ms. Armstrong, but I do want to make sure that he has, that we can get, at least, can we get some kind of address from him? Can we get a social service worker to visit him?
I will ask somebody from my office. I'm not sure if PAD might be an opportunity to find housing, but I'll definitely refer this case to the social worker in my office.
Okay, so it's going to be $1,000 signature bond for each charge, which makes it a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. He's going to have to stay away from the Walmart on Howell Mill Road and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. And if we can have a social worker visit him to see if we can help him with some type of housing, that would be helpful.
Thank you.
Mr. Bibbs, you can't go back to that Walmart, okay? You understand? Okay. Good luck to you, sir.
Position 22, Ramonski.
Romanowski, right?
Yeah.
Romanowski, Mr. Romanowski, is that correct?
Yes, sir, Romanowski.
Good afternoon, sir. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005383A with motorcycle equipment not used and driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest. 2019 out of New Jersey. Possession of marijuana. It says conspiracy. I guess it's conspiracy to with intent. I don't know. 2015 misdemeanor possession of marijuana. It was dismissed out the PTO. That's all.
Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. This offense occurred on the 13th at around 1 a.m. Officers were patrolling the area as they normally do, and they heard the motorcycle exhaust first, and then they saw the defendant speed by. At that point, they saw the helmet fly off of his head, and they noted that he actually sped up after that occurred. Next, they noticed that his baseball cap that he had on under the helmet flew off as well, and he continued to drive and speed. At that point, they initiated a traffic stop at 1088 Canton Street. And when they talked to him, he was just saying that his helmet came off. And since his helmet was off, they were able to smell the alcohol coming from his breath and his person. They also noted that his speech was thick and slurred, and he was unsteady on his feet and very disoriented. They noted that the closer they got to him, the stronger the smell was and how overwhelming that it was. At that point, they decided to do the FST. The defendant stated that he had a bad knee, so they didn't do the walk and turn or the one leg stand, but they did do the HGN, and 3 clues were assessed for that. They did note in the report that the clues that they did get were very strong, that stated that he was less safe to drive. At that point, he was taken into custody. The state is requesting a $2,500 surety for the DUI charge and a $500 surety for the helmet charge, being a $3,000 surety in total. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and no driving. While he does not have an extensive history, it is concerning that he is a danger to himself, being willing to be under the influence, driving a motorcycle, not even being cognizant that his helmet flew off. For the reasons we feel this surety bond is more than reasonable, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Nico. He is 30 years old and he has been here in Georgia almost 30 years, even though he went to New Jersey a little bit. Most of his time he was here in Georgia. He does not have children, and yet he has a girlfriend who he resides with, and he also has a solid job at Royals as a manager. He has been employed for the last 2 years, and he successfully completed high school. And we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 surety bond. Thank you.
All right, for the equipment violation, a $500 good bond. For the less safe, a $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $1,500 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, sir.
Sir, is there any way I could get a permit to drive to and from work?
I have not restricted your driving, Mr. Romowski. So,
So I'm, as of now, there's not a driver's license.
Please give me a call. I'll call you and explain to you, okay?
All right, thank you, Ms. Kim.
Thank you.
Judge, what's the total bond amount?
1,500, 500 for the headgear, and 1,000 for the DUI.
And Ms. Kim, could you contact Hannah and let her know that?
I'll do that. I'll talk to you a little bit later too. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Position 13, Greer.
Ms. Franchell Leggett, I see you on the line. Are you there with us? Ms. Leggett?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, I'm happy to have you here, but I just wanted to let you know that Mr. Phil's case has already been addressed by this court. He was given a good bond and he was to have no further contact with you. Understand?
Yes.
Okay. Have any questions for me?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry because I wasn't aware of the time zone difference, and I'm driving back to Houston right now.
Ms. Leggett, I just wanted to inform you that I can't have you, I'm speaking to the court and driving at the same time, okay? But I just saw you there. I wanted to inform you of what the outcome of Mr. Fields' resolution with the court had been, okay?
Okay, and I'm not driving right now. I'm pulled over. What are the charges, and then when is court? I guess
you'll be notified. You'll be notified by the victim advocate of the next court date, ma'am. If he does not make bond, his next court date is going to be August 30th.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
but he is to have no further contact with you at the present time. If he does have contact with you, he is going to be in violation of this bond. If you have contact with him, he is going to be in violation of this bond, which means that if the bond is violated, he could be back where he is at the present time. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Gann.
I do apologize for interrupting. Position 13, Ms. Greer's preferred pronouns are she and her.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Ms. Gann.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, I want to add that position 14 is a cross defendant. I didn't know if you wanted me to go through the facts at the same time.
Okay, and 13 and 14, thank you. Yes, let's do that. Good afternoon, Ms. Greer. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005367C with simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
First adult arrest.
All right, and do you have the history on position 14?
What's the name?
Zacharias Hicks.
Let's see. 10 total. Last arrest was 2020, suspended license. Before that was 2019, probation dismissed. 2019, suspended license. 2017, FTA dismissed. 2017, obtaining dangerous drugs by fraud, that was a conviction. 2015, driving. 2013, suspended license, FTA. That's it.
All right, thank you. Yes, Ms. Reed.
I thank you, Your Honor. This incident occurred August 14th, 2022 at 245 Amal Apartment Unit 2009 in Atlanta. Ms. Greer and Mr. Hicks were roommates. I understand they lived together 4 years. And the facts of this case, the officer responded to the incident location because a fight was occurring between both parties. The officer spoke with Defendant Greer, who had injuries on her face, and Defendant Greer said that Defendant Hicks struck her several times. Defendant Hicks told the officer that Defendant Floyd had tried to get with his friend, and that's what caused the two to fight among themselves. But while Defendant Hicks was talking to the officer, Defendant Greer got upset and she struck Defendant Hicks in the face in the presence of the officer. As a result, both parties were placed into custody. On Defendant Hicks' case, for position 13 for Defendant Greer's case, is a simple battery charge, and we are asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and 1 day anger awareness. As it relates to position number 14, Mr. Hicks' bond, he's being charged with battery, so we're asking for a $3,500 surety bond and no drugs and alcohol or weapons while out on bond in a 1 day anger awareness course. As for the stay away, I believe they both live at the incident location, so we'll defer to the court or the public defender to shed light on who should stay away from the location. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Floyd Greer is 28 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area her entire life. She has family here. Your Honor, we are opposed to any stay away conditions. Ms. Greer informs me that the incident location is her residence. Her name is on the lease. She also states that Mr. Hicks lives there. She wants to continue having contact with him. They have been roommates for quite a while. Ms. Greer completed high school. She also has an associate's degree in business administration and general studies. She is currently employed at MARTA and has been so for 1 month. She's still on probation at her job. So she is, desperately wants to get out so that she can maintain that job. My client denies the allegations, and I would bring to the court's attention that my client has injuries while the cross defendant does not. My client is not the primary aggressor. He does not have any prior convictions for violence and is recommended for a signature bond. Therefore, I am requesting a signature bond. And again, we are opposed to any stay away conditions and would ask the court for a no violent contact order. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. McLeod, you represent Mr. Hicks?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And what is his desire as to contact?
He desires contact as well. He tells me he's very remorseful about the whole incident. He said it really shouldn't have happened. He describes her as a very good friend. He said they've been friends for a very long time. They've been living together as roommates for the past 5 years. He wants that to continue. He really is looking for a no violent contact, Your Honor. He does want them to remain living together. He has no violent history, Your Honor. He is employed. He works as a manager for a restaurant.
And Judge, if I may, I understand this defendant does not have a violent history, but he does have a total of 10 cycles, and we are asking for no further contact, just so there's an adequate cooling down period between the parties. So,
Your Honor, I would point out that several of those cycles were dismissed, and it seems like they were mostly traffic related. There's no violent history at all.
Okay, thank you. So for Ms. Greer, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Hicks, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Greer. Can we have position 14, courtroom 2, Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so Greer, go ahead. Greer got a 2000 SOB through pretrial, correct, Judge?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. You gotta have some cuffs on you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hicks. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005385C with battery. Do you have anything to add, Ms. Reed?
No, Your Honor.
You have anything to add, Ms. McLeod?
Just to say that my client, he is employed. He really expresses regret that this incident happened. He says that, you know, it was not something that happens between them. And he really does want continued contact with Ms. Greer.
Okay, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Greer, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 8, Clark.
Who do we have next? I'm sorry.
Position 8, Clark.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Clark. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005390F with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
18 total. Last arrest was 2021. Simple battery DV. It's open in state court. 21 CR 002703F. On probation in Cobb County for ag battery. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon. 2018, they gave him 3 years to serve and 17 years probation. He has a hold as well. 2011, possession of cocaine with intent, probation violation from 2014. 07, simple assault convictions. Let's see what this hold is real quick. It's a probation hold out of Cobb. That's it.
And the open 2021 simple battery family violence, do you have any information on the bond on that?
No, I didn't look it up.
Okay. Ms. Johnson?
Your Honor, are you asking about the 21 CR case?
If you have information for me, yes.
Yes, Your Honor. It's a $5,000 good bond. That bond was given by Judge Mincy. It was ordered no further contact with the same victim in this case, Ms. Sandra Morgan, and it was also a stay away from the location, which is the same incident location in this case, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Of course.
You can go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. The date of offense is December 16th, 2021. The location is 1354 Northwest Drive, Northwest Atlanta. The victim in this case, Your Honor, is Sandra, common spelling Morgan, which is his wife. Officers were called to the incident location. Mrs. Morgan advised officers that her and her husband, the defendant, were at her cousin's house around 4 p.m. when her husband, the defendant, asked to use the vehicle to go to the store and get some beers. She advised that she allowed him to use the car, but he never returned. He returned to their residence at 1 a.m. with her car and did not give her an explanation as to where he was. She began packing his things to kick him out. The defendant then pushed her on the bed and she fell to the floor. He took her keys to the house as well as her phone, and he took off on foot through a wooded area. Your Honor, as you saw ascertained before, there is a prior case before the court where he was ordered to have no further contact with Mrs. Morgan and to stay away from that incident location. He does have a lengthy history. Your Honor, for that reason, for bond, I am asking for $2,500 cash bond, no further contact, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and stay away from that incident location. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Armstrong?
Judge, Miss Morgan is with us. If you would like to hear from her first before I argue.
Okay, that's fine, Ms. Armstrong. Ms. Morgan, I see you there. This is your opportunity to address the court. If you would like to, you certainly do not have to, but if you would like to address the court, I need for you to unmute yourself and I'll have to swear you in. Can you hear me, Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Okay. I've seen you. I don't see you right now on screen, but I can hear you and I've seen you previously. What would you like to tell the court? Oh, raise your right hand for me, ma'am. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
That incident was really on both our part. We don't have any problems. We haven't got into it since June, our wedding night. That incident, I was just mad because he had brought my car back late. And when he's supposed to be just going to the store. But by us having physical altercation, we never had any physical or nothing. He just liked to argue. That's it.
All right. Do you understand that it's my understanding that he was already out on bond for an alleged simple battery of family violence against you? Are you aware of that?
Yes, and like I told them in the courts once before, I don't know where that come from because the police just pulled over when we was out there having a conversation. They locked him up. I didn't press charge. I didn't tell them to take him to jail or anything.
Okay, well, regardless, he was out on bond on that charge for allegedly a simple battery. Do you have something for me, Mr. Jordan?
Oh, no, Judge, I'm sorry.
Okay, I saw you there. I didn't know if you were needing to address me on this matter. And as a condition of that last.
I'm sorry for interrupting that. I do want to say there's no further violent contact. There's a little V right above the C. So I want to make sure that in full honesty with the court, I'm letting you know.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Johnson. I appreciate that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Morgan. Go ahead. Anything else you'd
And
like
it's
to tell
Miss
the
Clark
court?
now, not Miss Morgan.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Morgan. On the screen, it has Ms. Morgan, so I will make a note that it's Ms. Clark. All right, anything further, Ms. Clark?
No.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ms. Armstrong?
Judge Mrs. Clark has admitted that, to me personally, that the June alleged altercation, that was the officers noticed scar on her face, and seemingly that was a basis for arresting my client. That scar, Mrs. Clark reported, happened when she was 13 years old. She just testified to the court that the alleged altercation on December 16th of 2021 didn't happen. There clearly are some. I would understand if the court saw concerns with the marriage, but I am asking Your Honor to give my client the benefit of the doubt and to give him a signature bond in this case, because there are major problems with the state's case that they need to think through, and that is no basis to hold my client in custody. He's a truck driver. That money goes to support him and his wife, Mrs. Clark. He's an Atlanta resident his whole life. And despite his criminal history, he is not a flight risk. He will come to court when called.
Your Honor, if I may?
Yes.
Although that bond order does say no further violent contact, it still does say stay away from that incident location, Your Honor.
Okay. And that's 3554 Northwest Drive.
Let me confirm, but I believe so.
1354.
It says 17544 Northwest Drive.
17544.
Yes, Your Honor. And he did that. Okay, he did an address change, excuse me, to 1354 Northwest Drive. So it looks like they moved within the same street, Your Honor. He did that a couple of months later.
Okay, so the state is asking the court to restrict him from the 1354 Northwest Drive address?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further from anyone?
I would like the court to take judicial notice that he's wearing his work clothes currently.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Armstrong. All right, it's going to be a $3,000 good bond. Given that There is a prior allegation in 2021. There's going to be no further contact at this point in time with Ms. Clark. Stay away from the 1354 Northwest Drive address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. So until this is resolved, there's to be no further contact. All right, good luck to you all.
Position 12, Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gonzalez. I'm Judge Eric Mora. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, you've been charged in case 22 CR 0053928H with improper stopping and driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
13 total. Last arrest was in North Carolina, 2019. Driving while impaired, reckless driving. Those were dismissed. Got history out of Louisiana, 2015 arrest. Operating vehicle with suspended license, careless operation. It says evidence of compulsory motor vehicle liability security contained in vehicle. I don't know what that is. Operating while intoxicated from 2014, 2013, disturbing the peace and disorderly conduct. Got 13 cycles out of the state of Florida. Last arrest was, I got a 2011. Resisting officer without violence. Accessory after the fact. Disorderly intoxicated. This is first Georgia arrest.
Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is Mr. Gonzalez. Date of offense, August 13th, 2022. Location is Eves Road and Eves Circle in Roswell. Your Honor, officers responded to a call about a motorist passed out behind the wheel of a vehicle and stopped in the roadway on Eves Road and Holcomb Bridge Road. Officers arrived and saw the defendant unconscious in the driver's seat. They parked for safety and tried to wake the driver multiple times. The vehicle was still in drive and they asked the defendant to put the vehicle in park. The officer began going back and forth between Spanish and English. The defendant complied to both. He put the vehicle in park. Officer asked the defendant for his keys multiple times with no access. On one attempt, he took a cable from the car and handed it to the officers. On the second attempt, he stood still and put his hands on his head. He opened the door and the officer asked him to open the door and step out. He staggered, leaning against the car. The officers noted that he had glassy, bloodshot eyes and could not focus. He was asked if he consumed any beers and he responded in English, stating that he did not understand. The defendant was asked where he was. He stated America and then he stated Arizona. They had to run the tag to get his identity. They noted there were no medical conditions. He wore no glasses or contact. There was no hair trauma and no medications. The officers performed several tests, one being the horizontal gazing test. He failed 6 out of 6. He swayed while standing. There was a lack of smooth pursuit. The instructions had to be given several times, but the defendant continued to talk. They tried the walk and turning evaluation and he failed to maintain balance. He began dancing and singing and would not complete the test, but continued dancing up and down the line. They also performed the one leg standing evaluation. The defendant stated there were too many steps and he failed to complete the test. Your Honor, because of these allegations, we do fear that he is a danger to himself and to others on the roadway. We are asking for a $3,500 surety bond, $3,000 on the DUI, $500 on the improper stopping, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, Your Honor.
Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Victor Gonzalez is 43 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 1 year. He has 2 brothers here. He also is the proud father of 4 children, ages 19, 18, 13, and 9. He is paying child support, Your Honor. Mr. Gonzalez completed high school and he is currently employed at DNZ. He has been in that position for the last 1.5 years, Your Honor. These are allegations. My client is presumed innocent. He denies the allegations, and I would bring to the court's attention that Mr. Gonzalez has issues with his balance. I am requesting a signature bond, Your Honor. However, if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,500 total, and that would be $500 for improper stopping and $1,000 for the DUI. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, it's gonna be 500 for the improper stopping and 1,000 for the DUI, which makes it a total of $1,500 good bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
11, Flanagan.
I don't know what's her name.
You have a good one.
I'm sorry, is this Mr. Flanagan?
Yes, it is, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Flanagan.
Good afternoon.
You've been charged in case 22 CR 005393Y with obedience to and required traffic control device. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
13 total. Last arrest was 2019 probation for trespass. 2019 probation theft by receiving. He's wanted out of Clayton County. It's an assault family violence warrant. Theft by receiving, suspended license from 2015. Probation 2012, 2012 battery DV no load. He don't have any history dealing with this charge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Howard. Ms. Johnson?
Thank you, Your Honor. The date of offense is August 13, 2022. Location, Joseph E. Boone Boulevard and Chapel Road Northwest. Your Honor, officers conducted a routine traffic stop where they observed a dark blue Chevrolet Camaro, run a stop sign. They made contact with the defendant, asked for his identification. They ran his information and saw that he had an open warrant for Clayton County for assault family violence, and he was placed into custody. Your Honor, we're asking for a $1,000 signature bond and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Any objection to that, Ms. Gant?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, $1,000 signature bond through the jail, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Flanagan.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Position 23, Sanders.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sanders. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Sanders, you've been charged in case 22 CR 005369E with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
This is 8th arrest. Last was 2011 probation. 2009 simple battery not prosecuted. 2009 probation, underlying charge was robbery. 08 probation, robbery. Came off of 2006 first offender. That's it.
All right. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. On yesterday at around 1 a.m., officers were dispatched to 259 Richardson Street Southwest in regards to a dispute. When they arrived, they made contact with the victim of this case, Ms. Tonethia Walker, Tonethia, last name traditional spelling. And she stated that the defendant, who is the father of her 2 children, was at the residence visiting with the kids, and that he had been drinking all day. And then he began to yell and become belligerent. At that point, she wanted to distance herself with him, so she came inside of the home. He followed her inside, and so she decided to call 911. While she was on the phone with the dispatcher, he swung his hand with a closed fist and struck her in the left side of her face. When the officers arrived, they spoke with him regarding this, and he stated, "I possibly hit her when I put my hands in the air." While the victim did not have any visible injuries, this still gravely concerns us because while they share children, he will continue to have access to her. For that reason, Your Honor, the state is requesting a $3,000 surety, no further contact with Tonethia Walker, a stay away from 259 Richardson Street Southwest, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Brian Sanders, he is 33 years old and he has been here in Georgia for the last 6 years. And he's gainfully employed at Atlanta Beverage for the last 5 years. He completed his GED and he does not have any previous violence case. I mean, all those things that he has are very remote. We would like to request for signature on bond as he is recommended. And that's it, Your Honor, signature on bond. Thank you.
Has anyone spoken with Ms. Walker?
I was not able to contact Ms. Walker.
Ms. King?
No, Your Honor, we have not been in contact with her.
Okay, and from what I'm hearing, that Richardson Drive address is not his address. Does he have any reason to be there, Ms. Kim?
Actually, they do reside together at that location, Your Honor. However, he does have another place that he can stay, so he does not object to stay away.
Does he need a one-time escort?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, one-day anger awareness. Stay away from the 259 Richardson Drive address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No further contact with Tonethia Walker, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If there are minor children involved, there'll have to be third-party transfer of those minor children.
Your
Yes,
Honor,
Your
the
Honor.
state just wants the record to reflect that we're objecting to a signature bond in this matter due to the violent nature of the offense and the relationship between the parties.
Thank you. Objection noted. Anything further, Ms.
I
Kim?
believe that home address is actually 265, Your Honor.
26. Okay, apparently there are two different addresses in the warrant, which.
Can we just say that?
Do we know where Ms. Walker lives, or Ms. King? Where do you want him to stay
Yes.
away from?
From the 259 Richardson Street Southwest, when the officers arrived, she told them that he was there visiting. So that leaves the state to infer that that is her residence and he does not live there and should not have
Okay.
access to.
All right, so there'll be a stay away. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank you.
good luck to you, Mr. Sanders.
Position 16, Mackey.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mackey. I'm Judge Eric Moore. This is a state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Mackey, you've been charged in case 22CR005372H with making an improper U-turn and driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No. And a resident of Naples, Florida.
Okay, Ms. Reed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The day of the incident was August 13th, 2022 at Holcomb Bridge Road and the exit ramp off Georgia 400 southbound. Defendant is being charged with improper U-turn and DUI less safe. Officers responded to a car accident at the location, and the defendant had performed an illegal U-turn at the intersection of Holcomb Bridge and the entrance ramp of 400 South. Defendant struck another vehicle, which caused the accident. It was determined that the defendant was impaired and a backup officer arrived. Defendant's eyes were bloodshot and glassy, and he had slurred speech. Defendant told the officers he was traveling from Wisconsin to Florida and that he'd been on the road for approximately 11 hours. The officers asked him if he knew where he was, and he said he was south of Atlanta, and then he later said he was south of Macon. Defendant was driving with his trunk open, and there was a bottle of tequila in plain view on the top of his belongings. Officer asked defendant to step out of the car, and he was unsteady on his feet, and he proceeded to walk behind the car and lean on the trunk for support. The defendant stated he consented to performing field sobriety tests, and the officer explained the HGN instructions, and the defendant kept swaying, and he could not keep his head still. During the walk and turn evaluation, defendant was unable to maintain a starting position. He attempted to start too soon. He missed the heel toe steps and he raised his hands for balance. During the one leg stand evaluation, defendant exhibited clues of putting his foot down and his hands again was used for balance and he was swaying. The defendant did not consent to a preliminary breath test and the officer read the Georgia implied consent notice for suspects over the age of 21 years old. An inventory of the car reflected that the tequila bottle was 1/3 full and several bottles of Johnny Bootlegger were located on the front passenger seat in his vehicle. An In this case, even though this is his first arrest, the defendant does not have ties to Georgia and he's a resident of Florida. We are asking for a total bond of $3,500, $500 surety bond for the U-turn, and $3,000 for the surety bond for the DUI. And that's mainly because he has no ties in Georgia, and there was also an accident involved, and therefore the state is asking for a higher bond. The state is also asking for no driving from the defendant because of the accident, and no drugs, alcohols, or weapons while out on bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Connor Mackey is 25 years old. He is a resident of Florida. He graduated 2 months ago from the University of Wisconsin, where he majored in economics. He does not have any children. I have been in contact with his mother in Florida. Your Honor, Mr. Mackey is currently unemployed at this time, Your Honor. He was working while in Madison. He, of course, as we heard, is in the process of relocating to Florida. Your Honor, my client denies the allegations. He informed the officers that he has dry eyes. He had been driving for a very long period of time. He was tired. And further, Your Honor, my client has a chronic medical condition that would certainly interfere with his ability to participate with any field sobriety testing. He cooperated to the best of his ability. I'm requesting a signature bond on Mr. Mackey's behalf, and if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,250. That would be $1,000 for the DUI and $250 for the improper U-turn. We are opposed to any driving restrictions. We would ask that my client be found guilty before any impositions on his driving are placed. Thank you, Your Honor.
For the improper U-turn, it's going to be a $500 good bond. For the less safe, it's going to be a $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $1,500 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Mackey.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, that was a $1,500 good bond?
Yes.
Okay, you good. You finished. Burgundy. Position number 4, Mr. Burgundy.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Burgundy. You have been charged afternoon in case 22 CR 005382J with driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, driving under the influence of alcohol concentration of 0.08 or more, possession of an open alcohol container, and improper erratic lane change. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
The second arrest. Last month, Federal DV, Crew 10 and 3rd. That's open in Hall County.
Mr. Segura?
This case occurred yesterday, August the 14th, 2022, at Wilson Road at Medlock Bridge Road, Johns Creek. At around 12:40 a.m., police observed the defendant at the incident location make a turn from Wilson Road to Medlock Bridge Road too sharply. This ended up with the defendant striking the curb on the left lane. At that point, the defendant pulled up at a parking lot at a 10475 Medlock Bridge Road address. At that point, the police approached the defendant, in which the defendant exited his vehicle, then stumbled out, and both police and the defendant saw that the front passenger side tire was blown out and flat. When the police may talk to the defendant, they noticed that he smelled of alcohol on his breath, had glassy eyes, bloodshot eyes, and when asked, said he was at Tony's Bar near Wilson Road, and he said that he was drinking beer 30 minutes prior. When they decided to do the test on him, the police found out that he showed 6 out of 6 signs on an HGN evaluation, 6 out of 8 signs in the walk and turn, and 3 out of 4 signs at a one-leg stand. Alongside the police made investigation of the vehicle, they found that there were 8 open cans of White Claw hard seltzer under the passenger seat. All of them were almost empty. And when the defendant took an intoxilizer, they found that he had a result of 0.0 0.268, which is above the limit of 0.08 grams. Because of these facts, the state is recommending an $11,500 split bond, a $5,000 short signature bond under DUI less safe, a $5,000 surety bond under DUI concentration of above 0.008 grams or more within 3 hours. We're also asking for a $1,000 surety on open alcohol and $500 surety on the lane change. Alongside also asking for the conditions of no driving, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons while he is out on bond. Your Honor, the state takes DUI cases very seriously. In this case, the defendant was not only a danger to himself but those around him. He was drunk and he was driving erratically enough to make a lane change right past midnight, so it could have seriously injured someone if someone was down. So because of this, we're asking for this bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Armstrong.
Judge, I'm asking Your Honor to set a bond that's similar to the previous defendant in the amount of a split bond of $1,500 with respect to an open container. That's actually just a citable offense. It's not an accusable offense. And so even if he were to enter a guilty plea to that, the most he could face is about $250. So I would ask for a signature bond on that, a signature bond on the DUI less safe. And if anything, that's not a signature bond, then at most $1,000 on the per se. And if there's an additional violation, more than $500. My client, he does work. He lives in the Hall County area, but he's not a flight risk because he will drive back to court when called to do so. I've spoken to him about whether or not he qualifies. He's a little on the cusp. Today, I'm not saying that he does not qualify, but he definitely needs to re-qualify for our services once he gets out, and also update his mailing address. I do have a mailing address to give to the court in the chat so he can receive notice. And
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Armstrong. So for the less safe, a $500 good bond. For the 0.08 or more, a $500 good bond. Open alcohol container, $250 good bond. And for the erratic lane change, a $250 good bond, totals $1,500 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Burgamy.
Next, we have position 27, Mr. Courtney Williams.
1,500. I'm sorry, which one? Where are we?
Position 27.
27, okay, thank you. And this is Mr. Williams. Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. I'm Judge Eric Moore. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, you've been charged in case 22 CR 005388F with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Fourth arrest. Last was in December 2021, suspended license. November 2021, driving without a valid license. Misdemeanor possession of marijuana. In July 2021, sale of marijuana. It says out of Worth County. It appears to be open.
All right, Ms. King.
Yes, Your Honor, all three of the cases just referenced by pretrial are still open, and they all occurred last year. So he is out on bond on those three cases, Your Honor. They're not in Fulton County's jurisdiction. The first case, the felony drug case, is out of Warwick. The second is out of Noonan, and the last is out of Coweta, Your Honor. On June 11th, officers were dispatched, and when they arrived on the scene, they met with the victim, who was Arletta Samuels, ARLETTA, last name SAMUELS. They observed her crying when they arrived. After speaking with her, she stated that her boyfriend, who was the defendant, they had been dating since 2018 and broke up a few weeks ago. And while they hadn't been seeing each other, they had been in communication. She was staying elsewhere, and she went to a place to pick up the clothes for her and the child. It is unclear if she shares a child with the defendant, the child that's referenced in this warrant.
This meeting is being recorded.
I'm sorry, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Ms. King,
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, great. My apologies about that. And so she went there thinking that he would not be there, but unfortunately he was. And she said she found evidence that he had been there and had been there for a long amount of time. So when she was in there, he began to attack her, stating, "Are you talking to anybody and why are you ignoring me? You've been ignoring me for weeks and have to fake like I am not home for you to come home." At that point, he bit her on her cheek and used his fingers to fish hook both of her cheeks, like so, which I don't know if Your Honor knows is very painful. At that point, he told her also that he will make her suffer all day because she's not returning his calls, etc. At that point, that's when the police were called. She was actually able to get outside of the property before the officers arrived, which is when they saw her crying on the balcony of the home. The officers noted seeing a bruise on the right side of her face that corresponds with where she said that he bit her. At that point, the officers spoke to both parties and decided to arrest him at that time. We have spoken with the victim in this case. She stated they are no longer in a relationship and they no longer live together and that they do share that child. She did confirm that when we spoke with her earlier. She stated that they have been in altercations before, but never have gotten to this extent. We assume that she's meaning the bruise that was on her face. She also states she has not seen him since the incident and they have been transferring the child through a third party. So the state will be okay if that third party transfer continues, but we're asking for no contact in this case, as well as stay away from the 3640 South Fulton Avenue address, which is in Hateville. If the victim is no longer living there, we are okay with a one-time escort by the police to ensure that for the victim's safety in this case. The state is also requesting a $3,000 surety due to the violent nature of this offense, as well as him having 3 open cases in just the last year, which he's out on bond for and has violated the bond on all 3 cases by the subsequent arrest. And we're also asking for no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Courtney Williams is 22 years old, Your Honor. He just graduated from Georgia State University. He was a football player and he has a bachelor's degree now. And right now he is actively looking for a job. He has been here in Georgia for about 4 years to go to college. And yes, they do have one child together and they do not reside together. Stay away, no further contact. We have no objection, Your Honor, as long as we have a third party transfer. Since he does not have a job at this point, he cannot afford to pay for any bond. Since other charges all open and he is presumed to be innocent, we would like to request for a signature on bond for this particular incident because it happened about 2 months ago. Not only that, this is his first violence related allegation. So we would like to request for signature on bond. Thank you.
So you're telling me, Ms. Kim, he has no need to go back to the 3640 South Fulton Avenue address?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so it's going to be $1,000 good bond, no further contact with the alleged victim, Ms. Samuels, stay away from the 3640 South Fulton Avenue address, third-party transfer of any minor children, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you. Next, we have position 28, Mr. Michael Williams. Yo, fellas.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. You have been charged in case 22 CR 005373B with criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
9th arrest. Last was 2015 DUI out of Mississippi. A resident of Birmingham, Alabama. For the DUI was 2014 suspended license. Failed to have insurance card, failed to stop or comply, leaving the scene of an accident. 2014 trespass, harassing communication. 2014 operating vehicle under the influence. 2013 public intoxication. That was the Mississippi history. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, Ms. King.
Yes, Your Honor, this defendant is a multi-state offender. He also has a history out of Florida, in addition to Mississippi and being a resident of Alabama. This offense occurred on August 13th. At around 3 p.m., officers were dispatched to a damaged property call at the Salvation Army located at 469 Marietta Street Northwest. Upon arriving at the location, they spoke with a security guard who explained that the defendant who was staying at the location had been told to leave the property. The defendant initially left, but then returned shortly after and threw a large rock through the front door of the building, causing the glass that's attached to the front window to shatter completely. At the point that the officers arrived, the defendant was still on the scene. He was just standing across the street, and the security guard was able to point him out and identify him as the person that broke that glass. At that point, he was detained with no further issues. There's currently a $3,500 surety bond. The state is asking that it remain as set. We're also asking for a stay away from the 469 Marietta Street Northwest address and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Hey, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Michael Williams is 42 years old, Your Honor, and he has been here in Georgia for about 2 weeks. And indeed, he has a job here in Georgia through temporary service. It's called also People Ready. So he wants to stay here in Georgia. His Alabama address is no longer valid, and he's actually residentially challenged as of now. So he would like to get more resources from social worker services. And as soon as he gets more resources from social worker services and get his Georgia ID, he wants to pursue his career here in Georgia. And we believe that all those cases are remote and they're not really criminal trespass related. We would like to request for signature on bond for this case, if not maximum $500 surety bond, since he has to save up his money to find his residence. Thank you.
All right, it's gonna be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Salvation Army at 469 Marietta Street. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. And a social worker visit to assist with housing.
Thank you.
Ms. Kim.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Williams.
Do what? I said, oh, thank you, Your Honor. Oh, they weren't quite ready yet. I do have a question though. I am expecting some mail to come there. So how can I compensate that mail without having?
Okay, you can have a one-time escort to the Salvation Army to retrieve any belongings that you might have there, Mr. Williams.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. All right, thank you, Ms. Kim.
Thank you.
Judge, I have a couple of announcements to make.
Okay. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Position 1, waive their appearance.
What's the announcement?
Can you hear me, Judge?
Yeah, I didn't hear the announcement though.
No, I said position 1 has waived their appearance.
Oh, waiver. Okay, thank you.
Also, position 15 is going to be a medical reset.
15, a medical reset until tomorrow, 8/16.
Yes, Judge.
Okay,
Position 17 also waive their appearance.
okay,
Also, position 24 waive their appearance.
okay.
And that's it, Judge.
Okay,
Also, Mr. Brown, that is gonna be position number,
No, he's not even on it.
oh no, he's not even on the calendar. No, he's not. That's it, Judge. We're completed here in courtroom 2.
Okay, what about position number 2, Jordan Bean?
Oh, they're in Union City.
Your Honor, I actually have to interview her. We have not had a chance to interview her, so I can call South Annex right now.
Yes, we're waiting on you.
Okay.
Okay,
thank you.
all right, very good. Thank you all. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Judge.
All right. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you too.
We ready with,
Who do we have, Officer Milton?
Oh, I think these two are for Miss Kim. This is Miss Thompson.
Okay, is Miss Kim on the phone or is she?
Yeah, she's on the phone talking to Miss Bean.
Okay, do we have anyone that is Ms. Gantz? Are you with me, Ms. Gant?
Yeah. Okay.
Ms. Gant, do you have anyone at South Annex? today?
Yes, Your Honor, position 18, however, I do need to discuss a plea with position 18, Ms. Moore, and South Annex is aware they are coordinating that for me, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. She was kind of, when I took her back, she was kind of combative. I'm waiting for the other officer to come around so we can bring her together, so we can both of us can go together and get her.
Okay, so until Miss Kim comes back, I guess we don't have anyone at the South Annex that we can do. Ms. Gant, on these waivers, are any of these waivers yours?
Yes, Your Honor, position
And Ms. Armstrong?
17.
Okay, which position?
17.
Okay, can we do position 17 while we're waiting?
Your Honor, if I may, I did waive Mr. McCoy's appearance. I had requested a BHET evaluation that I had anticipated having completing prior to this hearing. That has not been done, and I believe that will grade weightly in my argument. And I would ask, Your Honor, that we reset Mr. McCoy to tomorrow's August 16th C calendar.
Okay, that's fine with me if it's fine with everybody else. So we'll reset Mr. McCoy until tomorrow, pending further information. Let's see, Ms. Armstrong, who is your waiver?
Position 1.
Position 1. Okay, can we take up position 1? Is this your case, Ms. Reed?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Segura, this your position 1, your case?
It is.
Okay. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Fourth arrest. Last arrest was 2015, theft by taking motor vehicle. It was dismissed. 2014, driving without a valid license, NOLO. And another 2014, driving without a valid license, conviction. That's it.
All right, Mr. Segura.
And this case occurred yesterday, August the 14th, 2022, at the incident location of 6900 Roswell Road, Sandy Springs. In this case, also responding to a domestic call at the incident location, in which the victim is the defendant's father, Mr. Aldo Bacalao. Aldo spelled ALDO, Bacalao spelled BACALLAO. In this case, Mr. Bacalao picked up the defendant, who is his son, and then drove him home. At that point, Dawn arrived, the defendant became irate, and he began to argue with his father. At that point, the defendant exited the vehicle, banged on the driver's side window which his father was on, in which there were visible marks of the defendant banging on it. At that point, the defendant got the door, started to slam it, and kept slamming it again, and which prevented the father from getting out. At that point, when Mr. Basalau went out of his vehicle, the defendant walked aggressively towards him, placed his hands on his shoulder, and then grabbed him by his shirt. That Mr. Bacalao tried to push the defendant off, but he wasn't able to. The only way he was able to get the defendant off him was to punch him close to his stomach. At this point, the defendant's sister, Miss Emily Bacalao, Emily common spelling, also saw this, which she also confirmed that the defendant grabbed her dad by the shoulder and not let go until the dad had to resort to some sort of self-defense. Because of this, the state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, a stay away from the 6900 Wasser Road, Sandy Springs address, and no further contact with Aldo Basalao. Allegations are based on these facts and also because we're concerned that this domestic violence against the defendant's father, in which, because we're not able to make contact with him this morning, we're uncertain as to what agitated this outrage and why the defendant became angry. So because of this, we are concerned about the father's safety, and so we're asking for the surety bond and stay away from that invocation. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Armstrong.
Judge, my client, he did waive his presence, his right to be present, rather. He works at a local fast food restaurant. He was living at home. As the state has acknowledged, they haven't even made contact with the alleged victim in this case. It sounds like pretrial recommended him for an SOB through pretrial, so we would ask Your Honor to follow their recommendation. He attended some college, but we would ask that you do not impose a stay away provision until the states make contact with the complaining witness in this matter.
I take it that you haven't made contact with the father either.
He wasn't able to give me his phone number. He couldn't remember it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give him a signature bond through the jail, a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. But given that no one has made contact with the father, at this point in time, there's to be no further contact with Aldo Sr. and stay away from the 6900 Roswell Road address. He can go back there on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. When someone does make contact with Aldo Sr., and if his wishes are different, then the court would certainly consider modification of the bond conditions. All right, anything further on Mr. Bacalao?
Can we also add a 1-day anger awareness class?
He's getting a signature bond through the jail, so I'm not going to require that he do the 1-day anger awareness.
Thank you, Judge. And that concludes my business with the court. May I be excused?
Yes, good to see you again, Ms.
Good to see you too. Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. Is Ms. Kim back with us?
Yes, Your Honor, I am back.
Okay. So where are we going now?
South Annex. Her name is Jordan Bean.
Is this now? Who do we have before me at the South Annex? Is this your client, Ms. Kim?
What's her name?
Ashley Thompson.
What was the last name again, ma'am?
Thompson.
Ashley Thompson.
Okay, yes, she is also my client.
Okay, good afternoon.
We only do interview through the phone, so we don't know the face. But
Okay,
anyway,
you're fine. You're fine, Ms. Kim. Good afternoon, Ms. Thompson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson, you've been charged in case 22 CR 005387Y with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2015 FTA out of South Carolina. She's a resident of Beaufort, South Carolina.
All right, Ms. King.
Yes, Your Honor, and the victim in this case is also a resident of South Carolina as well. They were in an Airbnb, which was the incident location, just here on vacation when the incident occurred. This occurred 2 days ago on the 13th at around 2 a.m. Officers were dispatched to an altercation of a domestic nature. Upon arrival, they spoke with the victim in this case, Enrique Ruiz Jr., Enrique Ruiz, and he stated that the defendant is his girlfriend and she became physical with him. He said that earlier in the night they had gotten into an argument while walking back to their room from a bar, it seems like. In an attempt to de-escalate and diffuse the situation, he went to another bar and she was supposed to go to the room. After some time passed, he decided to return to the room at around 1 a.m. And he says once he came in, the defendant was still very angry and continued to argue with him. And that's when she started to strike him in the face near his eye. When the officers responded, they noticed seeing an injury to his eye. And when we spoke to him earlier, he confirmed the injury to his eye and said it was a defendant that gave him that injury. He stated that when she became physical, he locked himself in the bathroom and called 911. And that's when the officers responded. The officers noted noticeable swelling and bruising substantially to his eye. And they came shortly after the incident location and they were speaking as to how injured it was that soon from the altercation. At that point, the defendant was taken into custody and the victim remained at the location. He did not want any medical attention at that time. We spoke to the the victim this morning, and he says they are in a relationship, live together, and share one child. He also stated they're from South Carolina and was here in Georgia on vacation, and the incident location was at Airbnb. He did admit that they were both intoxicated at the time of the altercation, and nothing like this has happened before. Nevertheless, Your Honor, the fact that there was a cooling off period, how brief it was, and the fact that she was still so violent towards him greatly concerns us. Also, the fact that she has access to him, being as though they live together and share a child, further concern the state. We're requesting a $5,000 surety. He did request no further violent contact. The state is going to, against my better judgment, that asks for no further violent contact and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Ms. King. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Ashley Thompson is 31 years old, and they live in South Carolina, which is only 3 hours of driving from in Georgia. So they are willing to come back, and she's willing to come back and take care of this issue at the court. She will not miss the court. And this is the first time that she's ever accused of any kind of violence, Your Honor. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. She has 3 minor children right now, 13 and 3, a newborn baby who really needs her mother. So we would like to request for her to go back to take care of those 3 children. She also has an employment at South Carolina, which is 3 hours away, at Service Experts as a sales and service coordinator. She has 1 quarter short of college education. We would like to request signature on bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the victim is on the line. If you will please sound for him.
Mr. Ruiz, I see that you're on the line. If you would like to address the court, this is your opportunity to do so. You do not have to address the court, but if you would like to address the court, I'll need you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you have to give before this court to speak the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Thank you. What would you like to tell the court?
I just want to, put that I was intoxicated as well. I was intoxicated. I'm pretty sure I probably antagonized the situation. And at the time, like I said, I was extremely intoxicated. So I don't know what kind of comments I made or said or did, or what was recorded from the police. And like I spoke to, I don't know who I spoke to this morning. It's like, I'm not trying to press charges or anything. It was one of those bad nights that should have never happened, but it happened.
All right. Thank you, sir. It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Mr. Ruiz. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Your Honor, the state just would like to say that, we're objecting to the signature bond due to the defendant and victim both not being residents of Georgia. We're concerned she would not return for court. Furthermore, after hearing the statement from the victim in this case, we're concerned about the cycles of violence. You already hear the victim already blaming himself for the offense. For that reason, the state is objecting to the signature bond at this time.
Objection noted. Good luck to you, Mr. Ruiz and Ms. Thompson. All right, who do we have next?
Okay. Ms. B.
All right, this is position number 2.
Yes, Your Honor, before you, then, Officer Goffin is gonna log on in the next classroom, so we can, do Ms. Moore
Okay,
in a breakout session.
all right, very good, thank you.
Ms. Gaines.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Bean. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Yes?
Yeah, this is fine.
Okay. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest. Last arrest was in June for DUI.
Okay, and Ms. Bean, you've been charged in case 22 CR 005379H with battery family violence. Mrs. Segura?
It is called on August 13th, 2022 at the incident location of 9860 Coventry Lane, Johns Creek. And this incident also responded to a domestic dispute call at its incident location, in which a defendant came home from a party heavily intoxicated. At some point, she argued with her sister, a Miss Taylor Bean. Taylor spelled Taylor, Bean, Bean, and both were parents. As she started the argument grew heated, in which the defendant grabbed Miss Taylor Bean by the hair and put her to the ground. At that point, she struck her with closed fist, striking Miss Bean's arms as Miss Bean used her arms to try to defend herself. When police arrived, they saw that Miss Bean had visible bruises to her arms, a cut on her left finger, and redness on her scalp above her left eye. And this whole incident only started when her dad, Mr. James Bean, put her defendant off her sister. Because the state is recommending a $5,000 surety bond, one-day anger awareness, alcohol, drugs, and weapons, a stay from the 9860 Coventry Lane, Johns Creek address, and no further contact with Miss Taylor Bean. Foundations are based on these facts, as well as we're concerned about this incident happening again, since the victim in this case is the defendant's sister, and they both resided at the same location for about 13 years. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Jordan Bean is only 18 years old, Your Honor. She just graduated from high school. Her GPA was 3.8. She's an honor student. And right now, she is working as a manager for a small business. She has been working there for about 2 years on and off while she was attending high school full-time. And now, after graduating from high school, she is a full-time manager. And this coming January 2022, she is planning to go to Paul Mitchell Trade School for cosmetology. And she has been here in Georgia for more than 16 years. Her parents are here in Georgia. She has a strong ties to the community. She's not a flight risk, and she's not a danger to the community either. This incident happened only one time. This is her first violence offense whatsoever. And stay away should not be needed because her sister, older sister, is gone to the college. Indeed, she left today to go to college. So she's the only one who's going to be there at 9860 Coventry Lane. So she can stay there for full time. And also, I think that's about it, Your Honor. There's nothing else. We would like to request for signature on bond for her. Thank you.
Does she have a co-signer, Ms. Kim?
We didn't think she needed a co-signer because she was 18 and graduated from high school, and yet her father is available to co-sign, James Bean.
Have you spoken with
No, Your Honor.
All right, so it's gonna be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Taylor Bean. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Ms. Bean.
Thank you.
What was that bond amount again, Your Honor?
$3,000 signature bond through the jail.
And for Ms. Thompson, what was that one?
Ms. Thompson was a $3,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you, sir. All right,
So,
we
have someone in the breakout room? Or in a breakout room? I saw.
I believe so. I believe Miss Gaunt is in a breakout room for Moore case, if I remember correctly.
There's no one in the breakout room, Judge.
Oh, I'm sorry. Never
Okay, does somebody need to go into a breakout room?
Okay, they're gonna put her in
Your
now.
Your Honor, I do. Need to go to the breakout room.
Oh, okay, so we need to go to, for what position?
Oh, not with, okay, got you.
Position 18.
Okay, so for Ms. Moore, so is this your case, Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor, I do need to discuss the plea with Ms. Moore without the ASG there. I'm requesting that we need the breakout for that purpose, Your Honor.
Okay, but is this have something to do with mental health, Ms. Reed?
No, Judge.
Okay. Normally we have breakout rooms for mental health. Can you tell me why we need a breakout room if it's not for that reason?
Well, let me rephrase that. I do know that she refused to be interviewed by pretrial today, so that I think she was being difficult.
Oh, we get a lot of those. That's normal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's very normal. You'll see.
Okay, so Ms. Gant, you need to speak with her.
Yes, I interviewed her earlier, but have not discussed the plea offer with her, Your Honor.
Okay, so South Annex, where is Ms. Moore? I saw her log on earlier. Officer Melton? Can you hear me?
Sorry. Okay, I have the paperwork for her to sign. Do you want her to go ahead and sign it?
Ms. Gant needs to speak with her first. It's my
Okay.
understanding. Okay?
Yes, no problem.
Okay. So do you want to call her, Ms. Gant, or do you want to do a breakout room here?
Whatever is easy. I have the number. I'm willing to call.
Okay, we can do a breakout.
Okay, so I think we only have waivers left. So, Mr. Jordan, can we put Ms. Gant in the South Annex into a breakout room, please? And Ms. Kim, are any of these waivers your cases?
Yes, Your Honor. So Sotelo Stephen is my case, Your Honor.
What position is that?
Position 24.
24?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, can we go ahead and do that case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who's presenting for position 24? Sotelo, Ms. Kim?
It is me,
Ms.
Your
Kim?
Honor.
Okay. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Steven Sotelo.
Yes.
This is fourth arrest. Last was July for trespass. 2013 trespass out of Alabama. It was non-pros. And before that was in the 80s. He was a resident of Iowa.
Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. On the 13th, a security guard witnessed the defendant laying on the entrance of the Atlanta Capitol building located at 214 Capitol Avenue. He advised him that he was on state property and needed to leave, but the defendant stated that he had nowhere to go and refused to leave the location. He has an open criminal trespass, case 21 CR 003-197 D as in dog. It is a different incident location. It's actually a Publix in that case, but that shows that he's not listening and he's continued to trespass on different locations. He initially received a 25,000 surety in that case, but after serving substantial time, it was reduced to a signature bond through the jail, which is how he got out. And once he got out, he committed this offense, Your Honor. There's currently a 1,000 surety in place. The state requests that it stays in place, and also a stay away from the Atlanta Capitol Building, 214 Capitol Avenue.
Is he residentially challenged, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you have a social worker visit with him to assist with housing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from 214 Capitol Avenue unless he's there on official business. We'll have a social worker visit with him to assist with housing, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Kim, thank you. Do we have any other waivers that we can take care of? Or is that it?
Another waiver was Ms. Gant's waiver.
All right, so let's see. Ms. Bridgewater, can we go through the calendar?
Sure.
Would you all like to go through the calendar?
Yes,
while we're waiting?
yes.
Yes,
would.
Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be August the 30th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 3, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,500 total good bond. Position 5, reset further notice with a total $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 6, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 7 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 8 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 9, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 11, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,500 good bond. Position 13, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 14, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 15 is being reset till tomorrow. Position 16 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,500 total good bond. Position 17 is being reset till tomorrow. Position 18, we're waiting on, I guess we're gonna do a plea. Position 19 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 20 is reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 21 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,500 good bond. Position 22 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,500 good bond. Position 23, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 24, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 25, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 26 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. Position 27 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. And position 28, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Any questions, comments, corrections, or otherwise?
What's the contact for number 2?
Number 2 is no further violent contact with Taylor Bean.
Thank you.
Any others? Okay.
Okay. Mr. Howard, on position 18, Ms. Moore, is there a history?
It is. Let's see what I got. It's an 8th arrest. Back in April, failure to appear. Underlying charge was possession of drug-related objects, obstruction, and criminal trespass. March arrest, for the obstruction, criminal trespass, drug-related objects. 2017, the solicitation that was dismissed. 2014, FTA not prosecuted. 2014, probation not prosecuted. 2014, trespass conviction. 2 counts of forgery in the 4th degree from 2013 conviction. That's it.
All right, thank you. And we'll be in recess until Ms. Gant comes back and the South Annex.
Your Honor, may I be excused? My business is concluded for the day.
Yes, Ms. McLeod, good to see you. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yes, Ms. Gant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Moore would like to proceed with my representation, Your Honor.
Okay, and is your representation, so she's not going to take a plea today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I've got the history from Mr. Howard. Ms. Reed?
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, this incident took place August 13th, 2022 at the BP station located at 2595 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, Northwest Atlanta. She has no bond on this case right now. The officer was dispatched to the incident location because defendant was lying on the ground in front of the door. The cashier told the officer that the defendant's been told multiple times to come back, not to come back to the property. When we were listening to pretrial, they mentioned an FTA, but that case was actually let out on April 26, 2022. That case number was 20 CR 00122 and she received 12 months probation, 16 days credit for time served, but balance suspended. But she had to stay away, and it was from a different location, not the BP station. This was from a beauty supply store. So the state is asking for a $500 surety bond on this case.
Where is 2595 MLK Drive?
That's the BP station.
Oh, the BP station. Okay, thank you, Ms. Reed. Is she residentially challenged, Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor, and I had the social worker speak with her to complete a BHET and to also talk with her about housing resources. The social worker, now that we know Ms. Moore's decision, I have asked that and arranged for Ms. Burgess, the social worker, to come back out to be sure that Ms. Moore has an address. And we are also giving Ms. Moore the address to the public defender's office to be sure that she is equipped with everything that she needs to do to return and respond to court process, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gant. Can you unmute South Annex, please? Good afternoon, Ms. Moore. I'm Judge Eric Moore. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. You've been charged with criminal trespass in case 22 CR 005375D. I'm going to give you a signature bond, $1,000 signature bond, so you'll be able to sign yourself out, and we're going to get you some help with housing. But you understand, Ms. Moore, you can't go back to that BP, okay?
Yes, sir. And it's not just because I don't go there. I only go there when I'm small.
Hold on.
Please be silent. Please be silent, ma'am.
Miss,
sorry.
That you're fine, Ms. Moore. I just want to just don't go back to that BP, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. So good luck to you, ma'am. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Right.
Is
Thank
that
you, Your Honor.
satisfactory to you, Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you all. Ms. Gant, we went over the calendar while you were in the breakout room. I hope you don't mind. And,
I do not need to hear it, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. And Ms. Kim was with us if you need any specifics, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You all have a good rest of your day.